Okay guys, I've been away for a bit and I'm back now, so I want to cover a few important things. First off, I'm going to tell you I think it's very possible the price of Bitcoin could be around 22,800 within the next 4 days. After that point, I think we're going to top out, we're going to drop, and then we will eventually break this line that I told you was going to be a key support level that is currently holding. I'm also going to show you that I did find the bottom for Bitcoin. All we have to do is wait till we hit that point. A lot of you, I've seen some comments, people saying, but you said the bottom would be this price on this day. Yes, if price dropped by a certain time, I know certain points where we'll catch a bounce. It can be the bottom. Just to give you an example, if price went sideways for a bit and then had a straight drop, we know that this is a point to catch a bounce and push up. Well, you can see this line is at an angle, right? So if it takes longer to hit it, what happens? Well, that price will be lower. So if price goes sideways and then drops, well, your target is no longer here. Now it's here. The main thing is we know the line where we're going to bottom at. That is not on this chart. I'm just showing you why that target can change with time, because these lines are at angles. Depending when you make contact depends on the price. Now that that's out of the way, also, I want to point out that I told you guys when I got back, I would start, well, at least on Twitter and Discord, that I would start making some new charts for stocks, altcoins, some new Bitcoin charts. So guys, pause this video and leave a comment. What altcoin charts you want, what stock charts you want. I don't care if it's Apple, Google, Tesla, you know, if you want Solana, or if you want, Ape, I don't care, whatever it is. Just leave a comment below what you want. But listen, if you leave a comment, so if you leave a comment and you say you want multiple altcoins and this stock and this, I'm going to delete your comment or just ignore it. One chart per comment. And if you see a comment for, let's say, Solana, and you like that chart and you want that chart, rather than leaving another comment saying Solana, just reply, yes, this is the one I want, and give it a like. The one that has the most likes and the most comments for that one chart will be the one I will start creating first. And I would like to point out that the charts I'm going to be creating when it comes to altcoins and Bitcoin, I'm going to default the first charts I create is going to be for BitGet. I trade with BitGet, so it's in my best interest to have those charts for the BitGet platform or BitGet exchange. And I will help you guys get these charts into the actual BitGet platform if you want to use those to trade. But again, people just use my charts to trade with. So, I have some for Coinbase, some for Binance, Bitstamp. It does not matter what exchange is charted on. Let's say that it's a Coinbase chart. This right here is Bitstamp. So it doesn't matter. So let's say we come down and you hit support at this point. Regardless of what exchange you use, BitGet, Binance, or Bybit, or whatever, it does not matter. Once we hit this target here on this chart and hold support, that is where you will long, regardless of what exchange you use. So just to make you aware of that. But do leave a comment, guys. And remember, if you ask for multiple charts in one comment, I'm going to delete it or ignore it. I just want you to put one chart per comment, and if it's something that you want, a stock, altcoin, Bitcoin chart, pair, does not matter, just leave a like on that comment, leave a reply to that comment, and then I'll know that there's a lot of interest in that one particular chart. All right, so let's move on to this. And remember, you can access all these live charts on the website, pinned in the first comment description. And if you use my BitGet affiliate link, it's also pinned in the first comment description as well. So before we get into this target up here and why I think we'll hit that target by a certain date, I want to cover a few things. First of all, the DXY. Now, Benjamin Cowen, I know he's got a lot of followers, and he's like a Bitcoin maximalist, and he thinks Bitcoin, is going to save the world. I get it, but he said something that just, I just have to correct what he did. So he did draw this pattern, and this is a pattern we're in. We could come up and get rejected here. It does make sense. And this is our support. This is the DXY. Remember, Bitcoin's inversely correlated with the DXY. DXY up, Bitcoin down. DXY down, Bitcoin up. So this is your resistance, your support, your resistance, your resistance, your support. And if you push up, yeah, this is likely point to get rejected. All right, makes sense. Well, this is the video of him, and listen to what he says. And I'm going to show you that it's possible the DXY can go a lot higher. And I'm going to show you why this can correlate to where the bottom's at. But listen to what he says, and then I'm going to show you the DXY chart on the macro scale. What he showed wasn't the macro scale. Let me just play what he said.
But the dollar, if we sort of look at it in sort of the macro scale, what's interesting is that the entire time that Bitcoin has existed has been essentially since January of 2009, when the dollar was here. So it's interesting because ever since Bitcoin has been around, the dollar has more or less just been in a macro uptrend. But if you zoom out on the dollar there certainly are phases where it's in macro downtrends, right? It's sort of like a macro downtrend here, and then we had another macro downtrend. You know, it is interesting to think about like what happens when the next downtrend for the dollar begins. I do think that'll be a great time for Bitcoin and risk assets in general. But
so, and what he's showing here is the dollar's in a downtrend. The dollar's going to continue down, and that's good for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to push up. And he said the macro. Well, he's not showing you the macro, and I'm going to show you the macro and show you how bullish the U.S. dollar actually is. And keep in mind, you know, this guy might be good at math, but when it comes to charting and common sense, he's about as dumb as a box of rocks. So first of all, let's look at the different currencies here, right? We know what the dollar's doing. The dollar's on a tear. It's pushing up. You know, he's looking at, okay, it's a downtrend. You get a lower high here. He's saying this is possibly a top soon. We're going to come down. You got to take into account other countries are not doing well. China is doing terrible. And they're a huge part of the global economy. Same with Russia and other places. You can see right here, the euro, it's down. The pound is down. The yen, way down. The Australian dollar, I guess that's what this is down. The Swiss is down. The Swiss franc. You can see the yen. All of these are down, but you know what happens when these other exchanges lose value? The US dollar gains value. And you can see right here, the dollar and the euro are equal for the first time in 20 years. What is that? Well, if they're asking, saying what it means for summer travel. But what it means is the dollar is gaining value against these other currencies that are losing value. So, and I'm going to cover, this is the chart, and I'm going to superimpose the DXY over this and show you why I'm very confident that this red line is a bottom for Bitcoin, you know, comparing it to previous bear markets with the DXY over it. But I want to show you the actual. All right, so this is what he was showing with the macro. And he was saying, okay, well, you can see the dollar is in a downtrend, right? Well, it's coming down. You know, this was a high back here in 85. This was a high here in 2001. So we're probably going to top out here and go to zero, and Bitcoin's going to go to the moon. But that's not how it's playing out. If you look at this, you know, this is your resistance right here, right? Come from here to here, and you can see that line is being respected very well. All right, you can see right here, resistance, and this is a DXY, by the way, guys. Resistance, resistance. What happened? We broke above it and held support, and now we're pushing up. Okay, well, let's draw a trend line at the bottom here. Let's see if there's a support level price is respecting. All right, let's see here. So to me, that looks like a huge falling wedge. All right, that is a bullish pattern. This is the macro. A falling wedge is bullish. You've got support, right? Resistance, support, 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 resistance, support. We just broke above our resistance, held support, support, and now we're pushing up. So if these other countries are having these, you know, they're not doing that well. Their currencies are dropping. They're in a recession. As those currencies start dropping, the U.S. dollar is going to start pushing up higher and higher. And just a measured move, you know, just from the top of a falling wedge, you go from the top to the bottom. You call this the mouth. From where you broke out, you know, that could put the U.S. dollar at 178. So if things get really bad, which it looks like that's the case with other countries, the dollar could push up a lot more, which means Bitcoin could be in a super bubble. Because if the dollar just pushing up this much can cause Bitcoin to drop 65%, imagine the dollar pushing all the way up here. So I'm just saying, keep that in mind. So let me go to this chart where, again, I've shown this chart so many times, and I'm very confident this red line will be the bottom. When we make contact, well, we don't know that, but I do know that when we make contact, that will be the bottom. And it's possible, you know, we could come down and test this, and that could be a bottom, and then we push up. But if we come back down, this could be another bottom, all right? I just know that that is the line we're paying attention to. But let me show you confirmation for me why that's the bottom if I superimpose the US dollar over it, and that is right here. All right, so I just want to show you this. We're going to go back to this right here is 2013, 2015. Take note, guys. This is the lowest point right here. This is the lowest point for the US dollar, right? I'm going to move this. It might move that. Yeah, it's going to move it. But I just want to show you what I'm talking about, right? You see the lowest point, and orange is the US dollar, the DXY, and blue is Bitcoin. So this is the lowest point for the DXY, all right? Well, take note, look, that is where we bottomed, right? Right here on this red line. And look what happened when the dollar topped out, right? Right here, the dollar topped out, Bitcoin bottomed on this red line, all right? Support, we bottom on that same line, and then we push up. But you can see the correlation, all right? When we bottomed, right, with Bitcoin, the DXY topped out and kind of went sideways. But confirmation was the bottom for the DXY, right, was support on this red line, okay? So we know that, using the DXY, comparing it to Bitcoin, it's respecting this support level. So let's come over here to this was when we hit around, let me pull this down. This is when we hit around 20,000. This was 2017 to 2018. Well, look right here, the bottom, right? Right here, the bottom for the DXY, right? It bottomed out right here. And notice that is the same point we found support on this red line, our support level, right? Well, when the DXY pushed up, it topped out right here, right? Pretty much. I mean, except going sideways and up. But when it topped out here, where did Bitcoin bottom? Right on this damn red line. All right, so we can see the correlation between the DXY and these support levels that I'm telling you. Based on this chart, we know where the bottom's at. Let's go over here to this was 2019 to 2020. Right, we had a COVID crash. Well, look at it compared to these support levels. Right, so right here you can see. Look, this is a bottom for the DXY. That was the top for Bitcoin. And move this out of the way for a sec so you can see this. Right here, this was a top for the DXY, was a bottom for Bitcoin, and it is respecting, look, it's respecting, I gotta do this, hold on. You see it's respecting this support level, support. So if it's respecting that red line, we know the next time we have a drop, this red line is going to be where we're going to bottom. It happened previously, and not just right here. I don't have it going back that far. But it happened in 2013. It happened in 2018. It happened in 2019. And I'm telling you it's going to happen again. When the DXY tops out, who knows where it's going to be, all right? We could be, we do have this chart back here. It could be this point. We'll see. I think it's going to be a lot more bullish. It's very possible we could actually break out of this, do something like this, and continue up. I mean, that would be very bearish for Bitcoin. But I just want to show you that we know that when the dollar pushes up, at some point it will top out and it will come down. And it'll come down for a bit. But we know that when that happens, Bitcoin is going to bottom on this line. I don't know when it's going to hit, but I do know that when I HODL, when I buy in Bitcoin long term, is when we make contact with this line, wherever it is. I know that will be a bottom. And previously we hit it, right? And we hit it, and we hit it again, and then we hit it again. Could be the same thing. This could be drawn out. This could go into 2023. We could come down, find support right here around, this would be around 7,394. If we have a really bad bear market and we have a stock market crash and we catch a bounce, it could be out here in this right here is the 14th of May 2023. Price could be around, this is $4,569. I don't know when we'll make contact. I don't know when the DXY is going to top out. I just know when the DXY tops out and Bitcoin bottoms, right? When the DXY tops out and Bitcoin bottoms, it'll be on this red line because that happened previously every single time. And these are parallel lines. I've shown you this previously. Each one of these lines, look, let me just show you. I'm going to paste it. Parallel to that line. Parallel to that line. Parallel to that line. And we know that that is our support level because we know that's where we bottomed. We know that that's when the DXY bottomed right here. When we found support, right? This was support right here. Support right here. It was the same point where the DXY bottomed. That's why we know that this right here was the actual top. This was not the top for Bitcoin. This was the top for Bitcoin, and this is our support level. This is where Bitcoin is going to bottom. Again, we just need to wait till we make contact. So, be patient, load up the DAM. This is the P1 chart. When we make contact, and again, when we hit this red line, I'm going to buy and HODL. And if we push up and get rejected, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. If the stock market continues down, and this ends up being, a prolonged bear market, I'll buy again right here. But I do know that is the bottom for Bitcoin. So I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry if I repeated myself. I covered this chart previously. I just want to show you this is a 10-year yield. It looks like we're pushing up a bit. I just want to show you the inverse correlation here. This was in 2000. This is actually in 2000. Notice the 10-year treasury yield. It came down, right? Found support, pushed up. Well, you can see the S&P back here. Actually, this is, I think I have the NASDAQ over. Yeah, this is the NASDAQ in orange. But notice when the 10-year treasury yield pushed up, all right, we had a prolonged bear market. You can see the NASDAQ came down. Same thing right here. You can see when the 10-year treasury yield found support and pushed up, you can see the NASDAQ came down, all right? Look how overextended we are. We're way the hell up here. And I'm telling you, this is nothing more than a bear market rally. We have a lot more downside. You can see that the 10-year treasury yield has slowly been coming down while the NASDAQ has been pushing up. So if it plays out like it did here, support, drop, support, drop. Well, if this finds support right here and pushes up, we could have a lot of downside for the stock market. All right, NASDAQ, S&P, Dow. The Dow Jones, guys, I've mentioned this chart previously. I have a blueprint for the Dow Jones. I know where the tops are. I know where the bottoms are. So using this chart, we know we topped out here, right? To the tick, really, right here, 37,043. We hit this, we came down, found support, hit this next ring below, 35,187, and we just hit it again, as I mentioned in the previous video. So we know our support to catch a bounce is potentially 31,192. But once this breaks, guys, we have a lot of downside. I think this is nothing more than a bear market rally. We have a lot more downside. The DXY has a lot more upside, which means Bitcoin has a lot more downside. And that red line is the bottom. The question is when do we make contact with it, and are we going to bounce down it? That's what we're waiting to see. But when we hit that red line, that's when we're going to HODL. The previous video, guys, I'll put a link up to it now if you want to check it out. I told you that everybody had it wrong with this pattern we were in. I showed you exactly where to short every time we hit this line right here. And I told you this line, even though you got crazy wicks, you don't know where the support level is. We know where the support level is because we have this chart. That's why I said your support was at 21,000, right? And you can see right here, this is a published version of this same chart published on August 6th. And right here, absolute top if price pushes up. That's this white line here and this white line here. This is a pivot ring. I hit play, you can see what happened. We topped out right at this line that we had here way before price got to it. That's why I said short 25K. And that's why I said this is the point you're going to long. And obviously, market makers send price up and down because they want to stop you out. But we're holding support and pushing up. I do think it is still possible. Within the next 4 days, we could be around 22,800. This is the actual chart, so I just want to show you. Now, yes, keep in mind, it is possible if Bitcoin does follow the markets. If you start seeing the NASDAQ and the Dow and the S&P just start tanking, Bitcoin's coming down. That's just how it is. But if you see the markets kind of go sideways and push up, well, we know, as I've showed you before, every time we hit this line, we get it rejected. Rejected, all right? So that's how I knew, and I was telling you guys, don't get bullish. It's a trap. I told you when we hit this point, now while we did push above it, these wicks came way the hell up here, right? But every time we hit this line, we get rejected, rejected, rejected. But ultimately, this line right here did hold as resistance. So not only do we have this line here that's going to be resistance, right? We also have, now we have this as a fib retracement. You see this is resistance back here. Support. So this will flip as resistance. So to me, that is double resistance. So if we push up, I'm not saying we have to, I'm saying if we push up 22,800 is a likely point to put in a short, okay? I don't think we'll get above that point. If we hold 21,000, I think it's likely within the next 4 days that's the target we'll hit. I'm giving you the price. You're probably wondering, well, how do you know the time frame? Okay, well, let's cover that. So this chart here, this is the A1 chart. Notice this blue fib circle, how well we've been respecting it. It was support, resistance, resistance. We rode up this ring, we broke it, we rode up this ring as resistance. Guys, if you've been following me, I talked about this chart previously. I said when we hit this ring, we'll probably ride up it. That's exactly what happened. I said it'd be a pivot. We rode right up this ring. As soon as we crossed it, we dropped, we pushed back up. This is a lot of resistance right here. I don't see us going that high, but that's another target to watch. That's why I have different charts charted different ways to show you support and resistance levels, so you can basically get a different view, different time frame, different exchanges. But on this chart, it is very possible. And the reason I have this here is because 22,800 around that area is the top, as far as I'm concerned, on this M1 chart, right? That would be the highest point we could go for getting rejected. But this chart gives you an idea of time frame. So if we just look at this, since we're respecting this fib circle so well, as soon as we hit this ring, we got a pump. So it's very possible we could push up now, we could go sideways, but it's very possible if we just start, consolidating, doing something like this, when we hit this ring, it's very possible we could get a pump, push up this ring, then we're going to hit that point on the M1 chart, get rejected, cross this ring, and then have some more downside. But again, that time frame, right? Time frame just to hit the ring from this point to here sideways. All right, let me lower this a bit. Hold on. So from here, if we go sideways, we make contact in 3 days. 3 days exactly. So it's possible if we go sideways, 3 days, expect to possibly get a pump. We could just cross it and drop, but it's very possible if we stay above 21K, I think we will probably push up this ring, seeing how we'll respect this fib circle. But again, if I think I would go into a long when we hit this ring, and once we hit this point, I would probably go in a short once we cross the ring. But a time frame to that target up there would be, and I got this on line drawing, it's a rough estimate. So to hit that point would be around 4 days, 4 days and 2 hours. So I think within 4 days and 2 hours, we could be around 22,800. That's where I'd go in a heavy short. And guys, as I mentioned previously, if you do want to leave that comment about charts as you want, so I've been updating, I just updated the C1 chart, I added in a new fib channel, and I'm going to create swing trading charts as well in the smaller time frame, 15 minute, 30 minute, again for the bigot exchange. But I've made some swing trading charts and they played out very well, and a lot of people have been requesting it. So I'm going to spend a lot of time creating some charts, so do leave a comment, guys, what charts you want. But please, one chart per comment, and if you do want that chart, make sure you leave a reply to that comment or leave a like, so I know that everybody's interested in that chart. But just to give you some current support levels to watch, so if you're just scalp trading, swing trading, your next support on the C1 chart is right here, 21,200. Your next major support, you can go back, guys, always just look left. You can see how much support and resistance this has been. So if we drop past 21,200, a great point to enter a long is 20,864. Let me make this bigger so you can see it. So 20,864, we know is very strong support. Your closest support level on this chart, let me make this bigger so you can see it as well, is right here. Nice point to enter a scalp long. Watch and see how it plays out, 21,200. If that breaks, your next point to long is 20,864. If we push up, the next candle, your next resistance is right here at 21,437, and these are your resistance levels above. But just watch this play out, see how accurate these charts are, and you'll understand why people are requesting, and I create more charts for different altcoins. And guys, again, I use BitGet, love their platform. I've never had an issue with the stop loss never triggering. Guys, if you do trade, always use a stop loss, practice risk management. You'll end up winning more than you lose as long as you protect yourself. Never stay in a losing trade. I know people don't want to lose money. If you set a stop loss, some people move their stop. I don't want it to trigger because I don't want to lose my money. Guys, that's what stop loss is for. Let it hit. Be out of the trade before you go into the negative and you get wrecked, and be ready for the next trade. That's the safest way to play it. But if you do want to use my affiliate link, it's pinned down first comment description. If you do deposit up to a certain amount of money, you can get $4,163 to trade with for free, but you do have to deposit a lot of money to take advantage of that. And there's a lot of YouTubers that are saying, oh, sign up to this exchange and you get free money. There's always a catch, guys. But if you do deposit a certain amount, you get up to this amount to trade with for free. And again, guys, I will be making videos soon as I create these charts to show you how to get them into the BitGet platform so you can actually trade. If you do want to access these charts, my website is opticalartcrypto.com. The link will be pinned in the first comment description. Again, to get access to stocks at $59 a month, I'd have tutorials teaching my method of charting. I use this method to create all the charts that you've just seen and the charts I'm going to be creating. And $49 a month gives you access to the Bitcoin charts, altcoin charts, precious metals, Discord, and Twitter. Guys, that's pretty much it. Just remember, just to recap what I just said, the DXY is very bullish. We could have a lot of upside, all right? The P1 chart, if you get access to the charts, this is the only chart you need to load up, all right? Just know that when we make contact with this red line, wherever it is, that's where I'm going to buy to HODL, okay? And if we come back down, I'll buy more. I don't think we're going to break this red line. The question is how far do we bounce down this red line before we end up pushing up? And that has to do with the DXY and the stock market. But we know this is our support level. We just need to find out when we're going to make contact. And keep in mind, also, guys, I think as long as we're above 21K, I think we have some more upside. Once this support level breaks, all right? Once this breaks, we have a lot of downside. I already made a post in Discord and Twitter where your downside targets are, but do pay attention over the next 4 days. We could be up around 22,880, or that general area. That would be the point to go in a heavy short. That's what I'm going to do as well. Guys, that's it. Trade safe, trade smart. I'm out.